What up,
we
yo?
are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
James Harden and the Rockets got a win against CP3 and the Thunder, and Giannis and the Bucks lost to the hometown Orlando Magic. But of course, we start where last night ended in the playoffs with the number 8 seed Trailblazers that had to play in to get there. Shot down the Los Angeles Lakers with big shots from Dame and CJ and Melo at the end of the game. Jalen, I didn't see this coming. What did you see from the Lakers and the Blazers last night?
Jacoby, I enjoy doing this program with you so very much because we get a chance to go deeper in the box score. And trust me, I have fans of the Denver Nuggets and Portland Trailblazers hitting me up like, yo, y'all been calling them mama's boys for 7 years, holding them down each time they made the playoffs, regardless of the outcome with the Portland Trailblazers. Dame has come on this show and let us know, Jacoby, he was not going into the bubble unless he was going to do something special. Well, he arrived. And I just want to say this as I go into my Dr. Fauci basketball breakdown scientist mode. Okay. There are going to be so many people, and rightfully so. You need KCP to make shots. He was 0 for 9. You need Danny Green to make shots. You hope that Caruso can make shots. But let me tell you what it's going to take for the Lakers to actually advance and or win the championship for those out there picking them, half-picked them, or rooting for them.
What's going to
Their
take
two all-NBA players need to dominate. That's how this works. This ain't no big three. This is a dominant two. Okay? This ain't what happened in Miami with 3 all-stars. This ain't what happened in Cleveland with 3 all-stars. Okay? Both of those guys got to be getting around 65 points. And LeBron's stat line was fantastic. The triple-double was awesome. His court vision was terrific. He's passing guys open. He was out there looking special, playing big guard. In that purple and gold, a couple of times he reminded me of Magic. I can't front. I was enthusiastic. But you know when I wasn't happy? When he was being guarded 15 to 18 feet away from the play with Gary Trent Jr. guarding him, and he not trying to go dominate and bully a bucket. That's what they're going to need. They're going to need Anthony Davis going towards the basket, okay? And I know that the Lakers like to play 2 bigs. Dwight Howard plays some good minutes. JaVale McGee plays some okay minutes. Their best chance in this series is AD at the 5. I said on this show before the playoffs started, at least consider putting Kyle Kuzma in the starting lineup. If you're not going to start him, he has to play the lion's share of the minutes. I'll ask you, Jacoby, do you know who started at forward for the Blazers alongside Carmelo Anthony?
Gardier?
Gabriel,
okay. That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
a rookie,
4 points.
A rookie that hadn't played all year. So therefore, you can't allow Portland to steal those minutes with him or Hazonia. You got to have somebody going at them. And Kyle Kuzma is an aggressive scorer. I'm telling you, you got to get points against the Blazers. This is the only time they've won a game and they only scored 100. They held the Lakers to 93. Teams have been scoring 123 on them, dog.
Jalen.
The Lakers going to have to score, and their 2 best players got to be dominant.
You're right. They could have been more dominant. You're absolutely right about that. But Jalen, this is not about LeBron and AD. This is about everybody else. It really is. Okay, let's say they get the 65 that you want from them. What were they short of that 65 that you wanted? Like 6 points? Where else are you going to get it? Look at the performance of the other players on the floor. Look at what they shot. 2 for 8 from 3 for Danny Green. Kyle Kuzma 1 for 5. AD and LeBron combined 1 for 10, and then KCP 0 for 5, 0 for 9 in the game. You just can't shoot that poorly, and these aren't bad shots. These are LeBron James probing the lane and kicking it to you in the shooting pocket when you're wide open from 3. These aren't Luka Doncic and James Harden step back dribble shots. Like, these are people that get paid to play basketball that are open from the corner and the wing, wide open 3s, and not knocking more than 1 down or 2 down. Like, it is not on LeBron James. Yes, could he have put his shoulder down and got to the bucket a couple more times? Sure. We want him to do that 3 more times. How many more assists do you want him to get?
Okay.
25, 15, and 15?
Okay.
I mean, Jalen.
Okay. Let me go a different direction. I'll go Sanjay Gupta on this one. Okay. This is what I want, Jacoby.
Bye, Jalen Fauci.
I'll tell you what I want and what it's going to take unless the Lakers are going to get bounced in the first round. How about that? It's going to take LeBron James and Anthony Davis to, all right, I'll give you a football example. They're playing against a team that likes to air it out and run 5 wide receivers on first down in the red zone. The Lakers got to be a power running team in a lot of ways. They're not a great shooting team, Jacoby. Okay, no. And therefore, they're going to need LeBron and AD going towards the basket and dominating their matchups against Gary Trent Jr., Carmelo Anthony, and Gabriel and Hazonia. They got to try to foul those guys out. The Blazers are not deep. The only way you can get at their depth is to continue to attack the basket with your 2 best players, in particular LeBron James, who has the matchup. And then you know what's going to happen then? KCP shots will be a little more wide open. And I'm not
a little more wide open.
Listen, dog. I'm not defending any adults who get paid to knock down shots. KCP, I'll say their names: KCP, Danny Green, Caruso. They all need to make shots. LeBron and AD need to make shots. But I'm trying to tell you, in order to advance in this series, their 2 all-NBA performers must be dominant, not good. And it wasn't 6 short. They only had like 51. They was way short.
Jalen, I did not walk away from that performance being like, you know what? We need more from LeBron and AD. I didn't walk away from that being like, we need more from LeBron and AD. I did not. I said we need more from everybody else in purple and gold. Someone get Avery Bradley here.
Dog, when you get a chance, I want you to watch the game. Somebody count the number of times LeBron James at 6'9", 260 pounds, caught the basketball 15 to 18 feet away with Gary Trent Jr. on him. You know what you got to do right there? You got to swing through, punish him, and take a bucket. A couple of those dimes were awesome. They were great, but you got to pound him. And you know what happens when you do that? He and Melo might not have the legs laid to make the 3-point shots that they ended up making that became daggers. And then you can't play your 2 bigs. Dame Lillard, his nickname is Logo. He's pulling up across half court. You got to have a big that's going to get out there. You can't be playing 2 of them. That plays into Portland's hands. AD at the 5.
I mean, I do agree with AD at the 5. We do have to move on. One thing we always want to put a spotlight on is not just what happens on the court, but also what happens around the court. And take a look at these images of LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers. As they arrived at the game, they're wearing sort of a remixed MAGA hat that says, "Make America Bring Justice to the Cops Who Murdered Breonna Taylor."
I need one of those.
I'm sure you can get one, Jalen. I'm sure you can. Moving on to another surprising result in yesterday's contest, I should say, because this was the Bucks and the Magic, and this was the first game, and I did not think it was going to be close. And guess what? It wasn't that close early because the Magic just absolutely jumped out and blitzed the Bucks early on. The Bucks did come back. The Magic held on to win, powered by Vucevic. What did you think of this Magic performance and surprising result?
Congratulations, Adam Silver, NBA Commissioner, Michelle Roberts, Players Association, Chris Paul. The NBA's done a fantastic job of putting on a terrific sporting event that's made for television. I like even watching the game and hearing the audio that makes the players feel almost like they would feel while they were in the arena. They've created the noise. It's more than just the virtual fans. And the reason why I bring this up is during this pandemic, we're sitting still. And when we lost basketball, we appreciate it now. So the Phoenix Suns, who didn't make the playoffs, now the world has paid attention to the fact that Devin Booker's a star, gonna be a superstar, okay? The same thing is happening with the Orlando Magic. Vucevic been balling. TJ Warren averaged 20 all season, but we got so caught up in ring counting and only paying attention to the playoffs that we stopped paying attention to the regular season. And that's why I hate load management. So now there are going to be people, Jacoby, to wake up today and was like, Vucevic 35? Yeah, he always be killing. He was an all-star this year. He got a great left-handed hook. He can shoot the 3. He rebound. And we talked about irrational confidence on this show. And this was the example we talked about. You saw Terrence Ross hanging on the rim. Mm-hmm. You saw him hanging on the rim.
In the reverse.
Exactly. And so all 1-8 matchups ain't created equal. The Portland Trailblazers can eliminate the Lakers. I don't believe that Magic can eliminate the Bucks.
Absolutely not. And one thing I'm not going to do is overreact to game one wins. If you remember last year, because I remember exactly where I was when they were playing the Raptors and the Magic won game one against the Raptors, and I started to say to myself, maybe this can happen. And guess what? We all know what the Raptors went on to do, and it's probably more likely that the same thing will happen this year with the Bucks, that they lose the first game of the playoffs and win the last game of the playoffs, than it is that the Magic win this series. But it was a great performance, and it was another reminder that every single team, whether you're number 1 seed or the 16th best team in the playoffs, they're all full of professional basketball players. They can all put the ball through the hoop. And if you underestimate them, or if you don't come out with the right energy, something like this will happen to you, because this was kind of a wire-to-wire win. This wasn't like they snuck it out at the end.
They waxed them.
This was wire-to-wire. They jumped out and blitzed them. Like, the Magic hit everything in the first quarter. And I didn't see enough from the Bucks. I didn't see like enough energy, enough urgency from the Bucks during this game. Giannis played pretty well, but they played pretty well against Giannis too. I thought they had a really good defensive strategy they executed, which brought them the victory. Jalen, what do you think?
Giannis got the numbers that you want him to get, and that should result into a victory. The problem is they gave up 122, and that's not Bucks basketball. They normally lock down defensively. And offensively, a couple of these guys have to consistently show up to play. David Jacoby, Chris Middleton playing alongside the Greek Freak has become not just an all-star. When you do it a few times, he's becoming a perennial all-star. So we're going to need him to show up consistently. Eric Bledsoe, when the playoffs happen, remember now, Scary Terry made a name for himself against Eric Bledsoe, showing up wearing jerseys and everything to the game. Okay, Eric Bledsoe got something to prove in these playoffs. He need the ball. Okay, Lopez got a ball. Okay, and Vucevic was an equal opportunity employer. He was giving all of them work. And so I'm pretty sure they're now going to regroup and understand they got to get their character back defensively, but they're still going to need those guys to make the shots that they made during the regular season and be productive.
Jalen, there's so much more to discuss. We have James Harden going off against his old team, and we also have some very revealing body cam footage of the incident between Masai Ujiri and someone who worked at the arena for the Warriors when they lost the championship last year. All of that and much more. Stay tuned. You're watching. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. It is time for the segment where Jalen decides what we discuss.
Woo!
It is.
Tang! Woo!
Keep it moving.
Tang!
If you want to discuss the topic, stay, hit the brakes. If not, we will keep it moving. And we start with new video of the incident between a deputy and Masai
Hit the
Ujiri
brakes.
Jalen, here is the video put out by Masai Ujiri's. This is the body cam footage put out by Masai Ujiri's attorneys. Jalen, what do you see?
Let me tell you what's very disturbing. Jacoby. The NBA has one black president. He's videoed right there. His team won a championship in an NBA arena. And one of the security people that work that night decided that they wanted to harass him as he went to the floor to celebrate the championship with his team that they had just won on the road. And it got me to appreciating the NBA right now, allowing the players to have different sayings on the back of their jerseys and Black Lives Matter on the floor. But like I keep telling you, I'm also keeping score about action that's going to take place in corporate America. And as much as I want to believe that the civil rights movement has been something that has been embraced because it's the right thing to do, a lot of what I know is it's been embraced because it's been forced on a lot of people. And with Masai Ujiri and this police cam, it reminds me so very vividly of this is the number one catalyst for change that black people have been able to use against violence versus the police. If you look at a lot of those murders, Jacoby, including George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, they lie on the police report. Breonna Taylor, they flat out lie on the police report.
Jalen.
And so now that people are seeing it on video, that's been a catalyst, the number one catalyst for change.
What I find most disturbing about this incident is the word countersuit. This video came to the light of day because Masai Ujiri, after this incident, was actually sued. And the officer, the sheriff's deputy that pushed him and then pushed him again before he was touched, walked away from that incident and said, you know what? I've been wronged. I've been injured. I need money from this person. And that forced Masai Ujiri to have a countersuit. It is disgusting that he pushed him in the first place. What's even more disgusting to me is he walked away from that incident and tried to turn it into a paycheck. Moving on. The Miami Heat won their opening round 1, game 1 against the Pacers. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Victor Oladipo left that game with an eye injury. Hopefully he can come back. Keep it moving for now.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
It is game 2 of what was, in my opinion, the best game 1 that we had of the 8.
Hit the brakes.
Jazz against the Nuggets. Jalen, Jazz Nuggets game 2. Of course, Donovan Mitchell had 57, but it wasn't enough to stop Jamal Murray and the stretch mark 5. Jokic, what do you think happens when these two match up again?
I, looking deeper into the box score, and want to see the Denver Nuggets create that kind of pecking order of 9 guys that they're going to rely on to do to play the lion's share of the minutes. I think them going so deep into their roster, playing 12 players so much, it doesn't allow them to it seemed like sometimes too many guys have the green light, so to speak. And I think Jokic is that guy. I know Murray's that guy. Michael Porter's shown me to be that guy. You know, they're playing without Barton. They're playing without Harris. So I just think they should funnel the ball through those guys and allow everybody else to play off that action. Then when Monte Morris comes in, he can get going, kind of do it that way.
Moving on, we have some Chase Young video that I really want to show you. Keep moving or hit the brakes. Chase Young was just playing at the Washington football team's O-line camp, and here's what he did to a grown man who gets paid to play football. You know which one Chase Young is because you watch him do that. Jalen, do you think he will have that kind of Bosa-like impact in his rookie season if they ever play football?
I think he will. And Jacoby, while I'm a Michigan Wolverine through and through, I do pay attention to who's playing on the other teams, especially when they've beaten you basically for the last 2 decades. And all of the guys you just mentioned, I got a chance to see up close and personal, and they're really good. And he is too. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes.
Well, things got extremely socially awkward for a new Hornets announcer, John Falk. Keep moving.
Hit the brakes.
He was tweeting about the game that we were just discussing and how great the Jazz Nuggets game was, and he didn't write the word Nuggets. He wrote the N-word. Jalen, I believe he did not intentionally do this. I've read the article about it where he says he did not intentionally do this. Do you think that he is still at fault for posting it in any way, shape, or form?
Well, here's what I believe, and I just got a new phone. And so when I saw this story, I was like, as somebody who stopped using the N-word in the early 2000s, I just decided I didn't want to use it because I didn't want people who didn't look like me using it. And sometimes when people who did look like me was using it in front of people who don't look like me, it kind of got awkward, especially in professional settings. So I stopped using it. So with that being said, I looked down at my phone, Jacoby, and I literally went to Twitter and I typed Jazz versus, and I was trying to get to what he ended up typing. And what I realized is my autocorrect didn't go there because I had never typed that on my phone. So what I would say to what you believe is, if he didn't mean to do it in this context, it's probably safe to assume that he's been typing that word on his phone.
I don't think that's fair.
Which is why he came up in that situation.
I don't think that's fair.
That's what I believe.
I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think that's fair at all.
That's what I believe.
See, I feel bad for this guy because the I and the U are right next to each other, and the R and the T are also right next to each other. And he said he tried to get it out as soon as possible, and it just didn't work out for him. And he did apologize because one thing about that is if you write it, you should read what you write before you send it. And if I looked over something that I was about to tweet and I saw one of the most explosive, controversial, and disrespectful words in the English language, I would have made sure not to send it. Well, When we come back, we have a lot of basketball to get you ready for. We've got Embiid and the Sixers again against the Celtics and much more. Stay tuned. You're watching. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, one game we haven't discussed from yesterday is the Rockets beating the Thunder. James Harden did his thing. What do you think this means for the future of this series?
This is why James Harden is one of the top 5 players in the NBA. They were one of the best teams in the West, regardless of CP3 or Russell Westbrook's arrival. Great job on Mike D'Antoni suffocating the mid-range where CP3 and the guards of OKC like to operate, and grabbing boards, and James Harden breaking down the defense. They can win this series if Russell Westbrook does not play.
Jalen, one of the most exciting games was the Mavs-Clippers, and the Clippers beat the Mavs. Wasn't enough from Luka. Can they beat the Clippers in game 2?
I don't believe so. I think the Clippers are going to play a lot better offensively. I think they'll get a lot more ball movement. Look for Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell to start working themselves into the offense. I think this is going to be a 5-game series at the most.
What do you think you're going to see from Joel Embiid in game 2 against the Celtics?
I think this series just got a lot longer without Gordon Hayward. So a dominant Embiid in the paint. That's what I anticipate.
That's a really good point. Enjoy all the playoff basketball. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to wrap it all up.
Thank
Dan
you.
Le Batard is next.
Thank you. You're far too kind.